Welcome to the Silent Sports video blog. This is episode 92 and today's date is, I'm gonna say January 25th, even though it's still the 24th as I'm recording, 2019. I'm Troy West saying thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, I see like I'm looking up because of my camera. Let me see if I can get that together here. That's why I say thank you so much for watching the Silent Sports video blog and the Silent Sports gaming channel. Of course, you're watching right here on YouTube via the PlayStation Network. I appreciate all my PlayStation Network followers as well, and my YouTube subscribers for the support. Today's episode got some content today. Major League Baseball Hall of Fame inductees was announced just a few days ago, where I touch on all the guys that got in, and also talk a little NBA. Victor Oladipo, fortunately, you probably already heard that he's out for the season for the Pacers. So tell you what my opinion is on how the Pacers season will be affected by that. James Harden still dropping points as we speak, probably now, even though he's off tonight. Super Bowl 53 is set. Patriots and Rams. I'm not going to my own, and I did pick these two teams in the preseason, but I did change my Rams pick to the Saints, you know, who they beat this past weekend in the NFC Championship. I give you my early thoughts on Super Bowl 53, and final thoughts. Pro Bowl is this week. I give you my thoughts on the Pro Bowl, and also the retro series is back. Resident Evil 2 come out in hours, really. If you reserve the game, you can play it at midnight. I plan on playing that game through, so that'll be a part of my retro series. And also Mega Man X, I picked that series, that project back up again. So I'll talk about all that during this episode. But first, we're going to start with the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Of course, the inductees are Mariano Rivera for the New York Yankees, closer, probably the best, well, not probably, he is the best closer of all time. Edgar Martinez, the very established DH, probably elevated that position as a Seattle Mariner. Roy Halladay, of course, the late Roy Halladay, he gets in. Mike Mussina, another great pitcher, he gets in. He's a personal, basically he's pretty much one of my favorite pitchers. I used to like his wind-up, and he was an Oriole, so that touched me personally that he got in. And we also will touch on a few controversial players still not in. Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds. But let's start with Mariano Rivera for the New York Yankees. Of course, he got the first ever unanimous vote, 100% of the vote. Everybody on the committee voted for him. It's 425 guys voted for Mariano Rivera. Not gonna say he don't deserve it. He deserves it. Especially no denial. They called it a Sandman for a reason. When he came in the game, you knew it was over. And it was really just one pitch that he pitched that really deceptive cutter that he had. But honestly, the big thing I think about him, I think about him is, a lot of more positive thoughts about Rivera, but I guess because let's go back to the 2001 World Series. Of course, one of his dark moments though. Game 7 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I guess because I really was shocked. So I guess that's why it's more of a memory of mine when he blew the save in the 2001 Game 7 World Series. Yankees was up, I think, 1 run, and he wound up blowing the save, not necessarily blowing the save, and losing the game as well. I was just so dumbfounded by that. The Yankees had it. But that's, I say that's more of a blemish. If you take his whole postseason career, of course, you go search the numbers. I heard the numbers all week. Basically, let's just put it like this: all his ERA is under 1, like, especially in real tough moments. So you can't beat that. When it was time, she shuts you down. Period. And I think that was his only blow save ever in the postseason. So the guy was amazing. Class act off the field as well. Still surprising that he got a unanimous vote just because of how the baseball writers and everybody that votes is. You know, they try to nitpick a lot of things. But he definitely deserves it, getting the unanimous vote. And a lot of other players probably deserve it as well. Me being an Orioles fan, of course, he's sort of also a thorn on my side, you know. And my Atlanta Braves as well. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan as well, so he's been a thorn on my side as well. But I'm also a sports fan. I respect his accomplishments. So congratulations to him. He definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Edgar Martinez, my thoughts on Edgar Martinez, of course. My thoughts on position period. People, some people out there that think, you know, like Rivera, Martinez, of course, the closer and the DH sort of was like made up positions, I guess, as you could put it in baseball. But they still dominated at the positions. And Martinez getting in, to me, is encouraging for DHs because there's a lot of good DHs out there, including David Ortiz, even though he played the field as well. But David Ortiz, to me, should be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I've voiced that opinion before, so I think Edgar Martinez just getting in should help that case for Big Papi when he is eligible. But Martinez, I remember him being, of course, the Seattle Mariners, because he played for the Mariners his whole career. But just coming up with big hits, hitting home runs, just a power hitter. Well, not just a power hitter, of average hitter, just overall, just a great hitter. Put out a lot of big numbers, of course, played with Ken Griffey Jr. and that Mariners team in the mid to late 90s. Sort of disappointing team because they didn't win a World Series or didn't produce any championships, but still was a memorable team. And then they had young A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, so Edgar Martinez, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got in the Hall of Fame. Roy Halladay, of course. Sort of remind me of Greg Maddux, me being a Braves fan. He kind of a Greg Maddux. He didn't blow you away with his stuff. He wasn't like a power pitcher. He didn't strike you out a lot, even though he had his strikeouts. But was more of a deceptive pitcher, more of a surgical pitcher. In my opinion. Of course, probably to me more known as a Blue Jay. He played for them longer, but his Philly days was good as well. I did the research. I thought he was on that Phillies World Series team, but he wasn't. So he doesn't have a World Series ring. But and of course, you know that he died in a tragical plane crash a few years ago. But what I remember about Doc Holliday, which is his nickname, that he was a great pitcher. Another class act guy off the field. Was underrated because, you know, he's on those I want to say bad Toronto teams, but the Blue Jays. I'm about to say the Raptors. I got basketball in my mind. Blue Jays never really accomplished anything as a team when he was there, so he won a few Cy Youngs there. Had the first no-hit in the postseason, I think, since the 60s. He has a lot of accomplishments. And his family, of course, it's the news this week that they don't want any Pacific team on his cap or on his Hall of Fame plaque or whatever. They wanted it to be blank. So I think that was a class act by the MLB to request that wish as well. Roy Halladay, God rest your soul. And I'm glad you made it to the Hall of Fame. I think you deserve to be in as well. I had no problem with anybody on this list. And of course, that comes down to Mike Mussina. Like I said, me being an Orioles fan, I really love Mike Mussina. When I used to play baseball, the shirt used to emulate his windup. He used to always go like this. He'd take the ball with the glove and then bend down, then bend back up, and then throw his pitch. It became a habit of mine. Like him, Gary Sheffield was my favorite player growing up. So, like, as far as what I used to swing the bat, I used to emulate him as well. But Mike Mussina was the pitcher that I looked up to a lot. Me being from Baltimore, being an Orioles fan, I was very upset that the Orioles had to let him go. He went to the Yankees, of course. Not saying that's why the Yankees didn't succeed, but I think I know for sure he was on that 2001 team that lost, which I mentioned with Mariano Rivera. But him going to the Yankees was like, you know, the Yankees pretty much buy all your best players from you. But he didn't win a World Series, so that makes me feel a little bit better. 2003, I think, was his best shot. Of course, they lost to the Florida Marlins. At the time, they was the Florida Marlins. Now they Miami Marlins, of course, in that World Series. But Mike Mussina, I think he deserved to be in. His numbers is pretty much up there with a lot of other pitchers. Like I said, I ain't gonna lie, it's more biased because I was an Orioles fan. He was an Oriole for a long time, but I'm so glad he was able to get in. And this class is probably one of the most classiest class, if that's a cliche. I'm sorry about that, but this is a good class. I'm pretty much glad and hope I get to see the ceremony. Whatever channel, it used to be on ESPN and probably the MLB Network and stuff, but I would definitely like to watch that live if I can. And congratulations to everybody who's involved and everybody who, you know, they probably got some other guys, you know, like the NFL, they be having like veteran guys or something that got in. But let's get a little, I don't want to say negative, let's get into the drama part of the world, the Hall of Fame. I'll start with Curt Schilling. Of course, he didn't get in. I think he only had like 50, under 60% of the vote. Curt Schilling, to me, I would get him in. You know, I'm separating him from Barnes and Clemens. I mentioned that at the top of the blog. I'm separating him from that because I think he's never getting in because people just don't like him. And I think that shouldn't factor into your thought process of somebody that get in. So I think he should be in. He's probably his regular season numbers is probably average. They say above average, so they try to say that's the reason. But his postseason numbers is just off the charts. Sort of remind me of Flacco in that sense. You know, Joe Flacco postseason numbers is way better than his regular season numbers. But Curt Schilling, when it was time to come through, he did pretty much almost every time. Speaking of the 2001 Diamondbacks team, as I mentioned already, he was on that team with Randy Johnson. Pretty much them two won co-MVP of the World Series. And the reason why the Diamondbacks got that far was on that Boston team that won in 2004, breaking that curse. So, like, I think Hall of Fame is not always a bunch of numbers. It's about impact. I think he had a big impact on MLB history with that. With both of those two winning it for the first time for Arizona and breaking that curse for the Red Sox, being a big part of that as well. The bloody sock pitching game, you know. So he is basically like how some people say about Hall of Fames. Can you tell a story without including these guys? I don't think you can. I don't think you can't tell the story of baseball without mentioning Curt Schilling at some point. So with that being said, I think he deserves to be in. So I mean, just to be real, he's probably a butthole. He said some very controversial things, which borderline racist or just very ignorant, but his play on the field, can't deny it. So, me personally, I think he deserved to be in. And before I move on to Clemens and Barnes, I'm just going to give my perspective of the PEDs and all that crap, you know. Me, like I said, me personally, only why I have a problem with PEDs for the most part is because it's a rule. I don't believe you should be able to break the rules, period, at all. You know, I'm not against breaking rules. But other than that, like, as far as, like, doing it, like, I don't, you know, yeah, I think steroids, to be specific, gives you maybe a small advantage and things of that nature or whatever, but it just don't bother me that much, especially because of the NFL and other sports is not, you know, people don't label it as cheating, even though it's still against the rules, but people don't hold somebody against somebody or they use steroids. They don't condemn them like they do in baseball. And then baseball is responsible as well because they allowed it to happen to get the game. You know, the game was dying, especially after the 94-95 strike. The game was dead. They needed to pick me up. To be specific, was it 97, 98? Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, 70 home runs for McGwire, 66 for Sosa. I think it was total. Bonds is about to mention had 73 in 2001. So y'all allowed this to happen. So I just think for that, if baseball was real strong, you know, was real. Even though they probably, well, now they drug testing is much more stricter, but say if it was a little bit stricter back then and they got caught, then I had more of a problem with it, you know, them knowing what they did. But baseball ignored the problem to get their game, you know, to get the game back relevant. So it's hard for me to blame the players, even though they know in their hearts it was against the rules, you know. But with that being said, I think Clemens deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Even though, yeah, he was dumb, you know, which I heard a lot this week. My man Stephen A. Smith, which I follow a lot and listen to a lot. I think he has a very, very valid point about Clemens just being stupid. I think you should get, I don't want to say punished, but it should be factored that people looked up to Clemens. Clemens opened his mouth and put himself out there. The Congress, you know, college, Congress, and all that other garbage, which I don't think Congress should be involved in sports. That's a whole other subject. But nobody was questioning Roger Clemens at all until he opened his mouth. You know, the report that, you know, that was basically the big report. I don't remember the guy's name that did it at the moment, but that was a big factor. He was in that. The Mitchell report. That's what it is. You know, so he felt like he had to. I mean, his arrogance pretty much put his foot in his mouth. So, but I mean, I was that too. But I think he still should definitely be in. You do it on the field. I mean, I know. I guess maybe I'm naive to how much steroids can help you, but I feel like you still had to go out there and do it, and they did it. Bonds especially, I think he was Hall of Famer before he did steroids, which another guy I listened to, Will Kane, I put his name out there too. He was like, well, you cheat, you cheat. It's like if you cheat, like he made a good analogy and made me sort of think about it, like, all right, if you cheat, you could be winning after 17 holes, but if you cheat off the 18 hole, if you caught, you know, the whole, you got disqualified. So I mean, I understand that, but Bonds was a great baseball player. You could just tell before the steroids, allegedly, even with Bonds, I mean, even with Clemens, it's more sort of allegedly. They never had any positive tests, neither one of them, I don't think. But also, you're not dumb. You can see the change more in Bonds though physically than Clemens. But Clemens, as people bring up, he was declining clearly. And then he just resurrected his career and was able to pitch too late, you know, to his mid-40s. But I really deserve that. I think they all did. McGwire too, all of them. McGwire, even Sosa. Even though Sosa to me is more clear because he was so bad before allegedly he started, and then once he probably stopped or things got more stricter, he just never really was he was like a star and he burned out. Like he had like a monster 5 years, but from the beginning of his career to the end, it was terrible. So him, I can sort of understand not being in, but he made history. He's on history books as well. But me, as far as the whole steroid thing, I'm not, like, I don't commend them. I mean, I don't think they should be banished, you know. Or like I say, even though they might not agree with this, but put some asterisks on their name, alright, but they did steroids. And, you know, it was still, you know, some people you have your choice. Like, Hank Aaron, which I love Hank Aaron. Even though I never see him play, I'm too young for that. Roger Burns, Babe Ruth did some crap, you know. Pete Rose should be in as well. I mean, this is a deep thing. The Hall of Fame, to me, is too biased anyway. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But I think all those guys, Schilling, Bonds, and Clemens, deserve to be in my opinion. Period. Despite what they did, you know, even though Bonds, like I said, Bonds said the other day, people don't like Barry Bonds because of how he treated the media, I guess, per se. But he brung it. You know what I mean? He bring it on the field, and this might be me, but I ain't gonna lie, this probably a biased opinion about me, but what Barnes did with the steroids, he did it better than anybody ever did. Even if he used, because I don't know, I wasn't there, but if he did use, look what he did with him. Like, better than anybody ever. They didn't even want to pitch to this man. They walked this man, what, 200, 300 times a year. So, if steroids do get advantage, if he did use, look what he did with it. It still proves to me that he was an excellent player before the steroids. So I have a lot of respect for Barry Bonds in particular. If I had to pick any of these guys, he definitely, like, it's no brainer. I would put him in right now if it was my choice. Even though I didn't write Sosa, but Sosa, to me, I understand judging him. Schilling is more politics and crap, but I don't care about. I'm not a politics person, so I would put him in. And Clemens, he had monster years as well, so I would put them all in. And if you want to put a little asterisk there, do it. You know, but they deserve to be in there. And that's my opinion. Probably not popular, but that's mine. So that would do it with that. And I don't know how long it is. I know I've been on here for a while. Like I said, my blog's been short lately because there's not a lot going on. But with that going on, that took up a lot of time. But let's get to the NBA. Of course, it's Thursday night. I was just watching the Warriors. And the Warriors and the Wizards, excuse me, before I came upstairs. I didn't know Joe Wall was out for the season. It just went over my head, but he's out for the year. I didn't know that. But the main topics this week is Victor Oladipo. I'm gonna say a week because this just happened last night. Victor Oladipo got hurt last night, and is out for the season. Tore triceps. Unfortunate for him. So he's out for the season. Indiana Pacers been, I don't want to say a surprise, not this year. Definitely last year they were surprised to me, but this year I thought they would be still a contender in the Eastern Conference. Right now they were third in the East, I believe, behind Toronto and Milwaukee. Now, me, like I said, personally, I don't believe in the Pacers. I didn't think they was gonna get real far anyway. I think they'd probably be conference semis at the most. But this injury is huge because Victor Oladipo is the X factor. He scores the ball well. He plays good defense as well. Just that guy that could pretty much get his whole shot. I think everybody else is sort of like very good players, but more of like role players, system players. But I think that's a big loss for them. I think they still make the playoffs, but I think they probably just one and done team, probably just get to the first round and then lose with this injury. But I respect the Pacers and what they've done the last 2 years in particular. Nate McMillan is an underrated coach, pushes his guys to the max. But it's not a unfortunate injury for the Pacers, and hopefully Victor will be healthy and ready for next season. Other topic, of course, I touched on this last week. James Harden just tearing up the league, 61 points Wednesday night in Madison Square Garden. I don't know why it brings out the best of players, role players, in this particular. With the Knicks, speaking of the Knicks, they got some drama with Enes Kanter, who's came out publicly and said he wanted to be traded if he's not used much, as he's ever been used much lately. So he's frustrated with that. Harden tearing up the league. I think in his last 4 games he got 261 points. In his last 5 games, so that averages out to about 50, over 50 points a game. The guys just tearing the league up. Houston, they winning as well, even though they only won by 4. Last night against the Knicks, but he's tearing it up. Definitely snatched the MVP back because he was MVP last year. I guess right now I would give it to him just about how dominant he's been. But Kawhi Leonard is still high on my list, and Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Milwaukee Bucks is real high on my list as well. So NBA getting interested. Of course, the Western Conference still bunched up Speaking of the Wizards, the Warriors look better with Steph Curry as he's back. As I watched the few, probably was the first quarter and half of the second before I came up to do the blog. Like I said, I didn't know Joe was out for the year. I knew he was hurt, but maybe it just went on my head about that. Wizards, of course, one of the disappointing teams for the last few years, not just this year. So, Wizards very sad to see. But the East, I mean, Pacers was, had to be, I would say a strong contender to make some noise in the Eastern Conference, but now with the Oladipo injury, I think they just an average team in the East now. Oh, excuse me. I probably would lose in the first round. That's it for my NBA this week. Let's move on to the NFL, of course. Last week was the conference championship games, NFC and AFC championship. It's the New England Patriots against the LA Rams. Rematch of Super Bowl 36. Way back when, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. As he was only in his second year, I believe. Patriots are early 2.5-point favorites. Of course, that might change depending on how things bet in Vegas. Some early thoughts. Just like I said, this is my preseason pick. Like I said, I mentioned at the beginning of the blog. This was my preseason pick. I had the Patriots all the way. I never really turned my back on them, even though they struggled at times on the season. The Rams, I did change their pick to the Saints. Pretty much, I say about week 14, week 15, I started really believing in the Saints. Thought they would be here, which they almost did. You can go back to the game last week as the Saints got screwed up with that call, that pass to the first call. The Rams are here, even without Gurley. Gurley came out that he's more injured than we thought. That's why he didn't play a lot in the NFC Championship game. And like I said, right now, just my simplest thoughts here as far as like how the game going to turn out. Brady, well, like I said, I missed all the NFC Championship game. I was at a friend's house and couldn't watch the game, so I missed that whole game, but I was keeping up with the score on my phone. Then I finally seen the call, because the call was being talked about, but I finally seen it for myself. I was like, wow. It was clearly pass interference and helmet to helmet, either one. And, people argue that Saints should have ran on the clock, kicked the field goal, would have made it harder for the Rams to tie the game, which is probably true. But Rams are here. I think the Saints need to move on and get over it. Fans as well. There's been a lot of talk this week about how they got screwed, people suing and all types of stuff. But Saints gotta get over it. I picked the Saints, like I said, I thought the Saints would make it. But the Rams still had to execute, despite that they still had to execute the plays. But right now we're giving the Patriots the edge. I think 2.5 sounds right to me. I was about to say Brady, people say, well, he ain't played as Parsley played well as Parsley played, but I know what I seen. The guy looked like he missed the beat. He made the biggest throws when he had to on third downs, killed the Chiefs. Third and longs, he kept converting. Gronk, pretty much quiet all game. He started making monster catches. But to me, the Rams, which they had the formulas to do it. Well, they had the personnel, I should say. Aaron Donald, Dominican Sue, they don't have to ride and get the Brady. They don't have to get pressure on Brady. Basically, to me, it's as simple as this. If the Rams don't get pressure, they're going to lose. If they do, they have a chance. And it still might be tough. So, with that being said, that's why I give the Patriots the edge. I think they will win this game. I'm not going to say I won't change my mind, but I don't think I will. Between now and pretty much a week from now, I would say. Because it's about to be Friday, but that's my early thoughts on it. I think the Patriots have the edge. And I think their defense through the playoffs has been improved. Rams, like I said, the offense has been sort of shaky since the Cooper Kupp injury. And now Gurley being hurt. I think that helps the Patriots as well. So I get the Patriots early edge of this game. Unless something drastic happens to someone, I guess, or something. I'm picking New England to win Super Bowl Sunday, which I picked in the preseason as well. So my preseason might be right. But during the season, that they changed, I changed, like I said, my Rams pick. My Saints, right? Yeah, I changed my Rams pick, I should say, to the Saints, and of course they beat the Saints, so they're here. But I had the Patriots winning the whole thing, and I think they will. I think Brady will get a 6, and he might retire. I did predict that he might retire, but right now, the way I'm hearing, that he's not, no matter what happens. So that's my early thoughts about Super Bowl 53. Of course, Super Bowl to me is the biggest time of the year, more than holidays or anything else. So can't wait for it. I'm off, but I'm off on Sundays. Well, most of the day Sunday till Sunday night, so hopefully I get to see most of the game on Super Bowl Sunday. Alright, so that's it with episode 92. Of course, we get into the end. Pro Bowl this week. This week, my quick thoughts of the Pro Bowl. When I was a child, when I was a kid, I liked it. I loved the Pro Bowl, just seeing all the guys. Just always just thinking about all the guys, all the best players being together. It was exciting to me. Now, I be, focused on the actual game. The actual game sucks. It just sucks flat out. It just sucks. So, might watch, flick here and there, but I'm not really looking forward to it. Can't wait to the Super Bowl instead. Of course, a friend of mine was talking, saying, well, we remember when, I remember when the game was after the Super Bowl. I also remember, like, now, it was just in the middle, so, but I guess I'm not gonna, I did say before probably out loud that I wish they just threw away with the game, but at the same time, like I said, it might be kids like me that really loves to see all their best players, all their favorite players at one time together. So I'm not gonna say do away with it, but if they did, it wouldn't hurt me at all. Because the game is just terrible, because you can't blitz, and nobody don't want to get hurt. I might get his name wrong, but it was a Patriots running back. Was dominant. I think he played about 2-3 years. I think it's what to say his last name average, but it wasn't even the Pro Bowl. It was a little celebrities flag football thing. He tore his knee. And of course, back then, if you tore your knee, it was pretty much career ending. That it was for him. Now, you could get reconstructed and get the rehab and be good. Still have a decent career. Ever since that, maybe like I said, the rest around the time was, was adult. It was really knowing what I watched. Not saying I didn't know what I was watching when I was a kid, but the game is just not a real game, so it's just hard to be entertained by it. But I do like to hear the commentary, and I do like still seeing the players be all together. But a lot of guys back out of it as well, more than normal, not going to say get rid of it, but I think they need to. But I don't know how they can do it. Somehow improve the game, but I don't think they can. So you just gotta take it for what it is. I probably flick it or watch it a little bit. But I know I'm not gonna be real focused on it. But that's something to look at this weekend. Retro series is back. Resident Evil 2 comes out in hours, less than 2 hours away to be exact. As I just looked on my clock. My plan was to reserve the game, but I didn't. So it looks like I'm not gonna be able to really get that game till 2 weeks from now. So I'm gonna be behind everybody else on YouTube. But like I said, I'm not too down about it because I go by my video games on playthroughs, not walkthroughs. Walkthroughs is more like showing you how to play strategy and all that. I just like to watch playthroughs. I just want to see the game being played. So it's a remake of the original Resident Evil 2. I think it has a few new quirks to it, but I think mostly it's the same game. So I plan on buying it and playing it through for you guys on the YouTube channel. And also I'm going to be picking up back from my Mega Man X series project. I'm on Mega Man X3. I only have one boss to beat there. So I'm moving to Mega Man X4, and I'm gonna finish that as well. So check out the channel for that. So the retro series will definitely be back and strong right here on the Solid Sports Gamer channel. So with that being said, that is it for this week's blog. Did it a little early. I'm gonna go ahead and put it together, put it up on the channel for you guys. I just want to thank everybody for all the support. Honestly, like I said, I've had a rough couple of weeks. Of course, my other channel, the Open Book, I haven't done one in a while, but I think I got a feel I'm gonna do one soon. Don't know when, don't know exactly when, but basically I had a little breakdown. If anybody know me, they sort of know what that means. So I might share that with you guys as soon as I can. But other than that, that's it for this vlog. I'm Troy West said thank you so much for watching. I thank you guys. I thank my PlayStation Network followers as well. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy sorry, I definitely gotta get this out there. By the time this video get up, it might be my twin niece's birthday. They turn 17 tomorrow. Also my baby sister Deshawn, and my twin nieces Tajay and Janae, of course. My younger niece, which is a twin, Janae, she's going through a period. But like I said, I don't plan to share that with anybody else. But I'm just, if she ever watches, I just want to say I'm here for you. And happy birthday tomorrow. And my baby sister, Deshawn, she turns 23? Is that doing my math right? 23 tomorrow, yes. 23 tomorrow. So I just want to give a shout out to her as well. Also, my man, Fat Man, his son, I think he turns 11 tomorrow. I might have to check on that. I know his birthday tomorrow as well. So a lot of people I know birthday is on January 25th. So I want to give a special shout out to those people there. My twin nieces, my baby sister Deshawn, and my homeboy Don Wans Jr., who also watches the channel, so he might actually see this. So happy birthday to all of you. You're all important in my life. And everybody else that support me, thank you as well. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Next week, get a real depth Super Bowl breakdown. NBA, we'll talk more MLB if something big happens, and I'll talk to you guys then. I'm Troy West. Thank you so much for watching the Silent Sports and Gaming channel right here on the YouTube and the PlayStation Network. Talk to you next time. Thank you so much.